The following is paid for by the Real Estate Radio Network. You're listening to Real Estate Radio Fresno on News Talk 580 KMJ and 105.9 the FM KMJ. Now, live in studio, your host, local real estate expert, Craig Barton.
Good morning, Central California. I'm your host, Craig Barton, and welcome to, we got a giggly group in here this Sunday morning, don't we? Welcome to the Real Estate Radio Network, the most important hour of radio each week here on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. I got that right, Johnny? Yeah, nice. Real Estate Radio is a show dedicated to bringing, we are dedicated, not medicated, dedicated to bringing some rational thought to the crazy world that we live in and helping you to rebuild the Central Valley's housing and financial markets. You know, within every market there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted financial advice. And that's exactly what you're going to hear every Sunday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. right here on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. Good morning.
It's weird to be like.
It's weird. You know, we're back. Y'all out there in Radio Land can't see where we're at, but we're back where it all started.
And so that means we're like on the right side instead of the left side.
Yeah, we're all topsy turvy this morning here at KMJ.
I haven't been in this studio.
You haven't been in the studio.
Either.
No.
And Tim waits until we start taping to say, "Is this mic right?"
It has to be right. Johnny put it together.
Johnny, great job. Johnny B behind the mics this Sunday morning. Lisa Casso, client mommy from Valley White Homes. Tim O'Hare, our mortgage man. Woo-hoo. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. How are we all doing?
Very, very good. Very, very. And our special guest this morning, Sal Hernandez.
Good morning.
Our local listing broker from Valley White Homes here in the studio. Thanks so much for being here, buddy.
Thanks for having me this morning.
You're going to tell our listeners lots of secrets this morning.
I have to wake up first.
Thanks so much for being here. You know, the Real Estate Radio Network gives us the opportunity to reach so many people efficiently for one full hour each and every week. Our goal with the Real Estate Radio Network is to get you, our listeners, the timely and accurate truth about your local real estate market. We're going to share with you all the financial secrets that the big banks and Wall Street don't want you to hear, so we can help bring you back home. On today's show, home prices in 20 U.S. cities rose at a slower pace in the year that ended in March as the housing market began to weaken at the start of 2014. And that's not necessarily, when we say weaken and rose at a slower pace, those aren't necessarily bad things. And we're going to talk about how it was really anticipated. And the salary that you must earn to buy a home in 27 of the major metropolitan cities in the United States. And I think you're going to be surprised. And California median home prices reached the highest level since December of 2007. All I know is I don't remember December of 2007 being something that I want to repeat. I don't want any do-overs, Johnny. Is that okay? Okay. And we're also going to take a look at with Sal Hernandez's help, of exactly what a HUD home is and just exactly how you can get a great bargain with a HUD home. And Tim O'Hare is also going to help us talk about FHA financing and why it is one of the most common forms of financing that's utilized here in Fresno County. So first-time homebuyers, you definitely want to make sure that you pay close attention. We're also going to take some listener questions, so make sure you stay with us. And if you have any real estate or mortgage related questions or a question regarding the information that you hear on our show, or maybe it's something that Tim says or that Sal says and you'd like a little greater clarification, it all starts with one phone call. Give us a call anytime. 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. Or take us with you wherever you go and listen to us right now on your smartphone at kmjnow.com. You can also check out our resources online, and you can listen to past shows from the Real Estate Radio Network by going to our website. Just go to valleywidesells.com. Let's take a look at today's hot property. Today's hot property is brought to you by Win Home Inspections. Whether it's residential or multifamily, call our buddy Bert Welsh today for all your home inspection needs. You can reach Bert at 559-363-4080. Again, that's 559-363-4080. As a matter of fact, I just met Bert out at a home inspection this past week, and once again, just an amazing guy.
And a great report that you got.
Yeah, phenomenal report.
And we'll see him in a few weeks.
Yeah, he will be.
Well, we'll hear him.
Yeah,
we'll see him.
We will see him. Our listeners will hear him in just a few weeks. Well, today's hot property is 3505 North Stanford Avenue, Fresno, California, 93727. Located on the northeast corner of Shields and Fowler Avenue, Clovis Unified Schools, this 3-bedroom, 1-bath home built in 1971, approximately 1,000 square feet. This would make a great investment property as well as a great home for first-time home buyers. Listed at $139,000. If you'd like more information about this hot property, or you'd like to schedule, let's say, a private showing, Sal would be happy to show it to you, right, Sal?
Yeah, sure would. Just give me a call.
Yeah, absolutely. Give us a call.
Give us me a call.
Give us a call.
There you go.
You know what? Unfortunately, Sal's been hanging around me too much because he starts chopping words in half and then rearranging them and just like I do.
He's not name calling now.
No, he's not name calling at all. Me, you either. Give us a call if you'd like more information about this hot property. 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. And we'll send you more information about this hot property right to your smartphone. Look for more hot properties each week right here on the Real Estate Radio Network. Well, Sal, real quick, I wanted to talk about HUD home training. You know, if you are an agent or a broker located in Fresno, Madera, Kings, or Tulare counties, and you'd like someone to go in and do a presentation and educate you on exactly what a HUD home is, and trust me, these trainings, you'll get more from Sal than just about HUD homes. Give Sal a call. He'd be happy to set up this training in your office. Area code 559-519-3103. Again, 559-519-3103. Everything you needed to know about selling a HUD home.
There you go. We'll let you know.
But didn't know who to ask, right, Sal?
Yeah, we'll let you in on some secrets as well, and the properties are starting to come back on the market at different time frames, which benefit agents out there trying to get buyers into homes. So we'll let you in on some secrets. Give us a call. We'll set something up.
Absolutely. Again, 559-519-3103. That's Sal Hernandez, local listing broker with Valleywide Homes here in Fresno. Well, home prices in 20 U.S. cities rose at a slower pace at the year end that ended March of 2014. Which began some folks saying, well, that's not necessarily a great thing as far as the market's concerned. I have my opinion as far as we've seen a slowdown as far as the increase in housing prices in California. And Sal, what do you think? What's your take as far as the market's concerned, and whether that's a good thing or a bad thing?
You know, overall, I just think it's stabling. The market's just becoming stable. Overall, when you start looking, everybody starts thinking, the market, the prices are coming down. They're not necessarily coming down. They're just not rising as fast as they were rising.
There's
the last
a huge
couple
difference.
Times. Yes.
Right?
So overall, with interest rates still low, you never know if that'll change. But once you start looking at the market overall on pricing, even if, let's say for some crazy reason, prices would drop a bit and interest rate goes up, you're still going to be in the same boat. It'll offset your loan's going to be higher because your payment's going to be higher because of the interest rate. But when you start looking at everything, you do see houses lasting on the market a little bit longer. You still get the, crazy prices out there. There's some agents that are still thinking, hey, the prices are going up 20%. Let's price the house 20% above the market value.
And there still are those agents out there. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but perspective isn't necessarily crystal clear because the house, ultimately, the muscle's not in the market right at the moment. I mean, housing prices are still increasing, but not at the rate that we saw over the last 12 months.
And I think that's what's actually making everybody think, prices are going down, because you get crazy agents out there that are pricing at 20% above what it should be, and then they're going to have to lower the price.
Right.
So in people's perspective, they start looking at it and say, the prices are coming down.
Well, and agents as well, because we look at price reductions on multiple. Those stats are on the landing page the moment that we sign on to multiple listing service. You can see the number of price reductions.
all the property reductions, and most of them, they were just pretty much priced in the dream zone, as I call it. That's what the seller really wanted. It wasn't going to get.
That's what your investor really wanted you to tell him it was going to sell for, right?
Exactly. But overall, prices are steady. There's still a strong market. Our inventory is still, you can list a house if it's pretty much in move-in condition. That's what a lot of buyers want. If it's in move-in condition, most buyers are going to pay more for that. And when you start comparing them to other homes, you'll get people that are still trying to flip houses out there and don't put as much time and effort and clean them up as good as they should, and their houses don't sell quick. And you'll get other ones that, everything is pretty much, you just unpack your bags and move in, and those houses go pretty quick.
Average number of days on market is going to be a whole lot less for somebody that doesn't have to do a whole lot to a properety.
Exactly.
Ultimately, when the day is done.
Yeah, I'll still get buyers that say, "Oh, we got to paint. It's 3 different colors, and we have to repaint it." And when you look at paint, that's $1,000. You do it yourself, you're probably $500, and people will still look at that and say, "Oh, this is a fixer-upper," just because they need to paint a couple of rooms. So if a house is fixed up, it's going to go quick.
Very good. So another thing, the salary that you must earn to buy a home in 27 major metropolitan areas in the United States. Now, keep in mind, this does not take into consideration if you have debt as well. So let's just say that.
You're debt-free.
You're debt-free. Exactly. So Cleveland, Ohio, there was a period of time as recent as a year ago, the number of foreclosures that we saw in Cleveland, Ohio, because of how hard it was hit. It was enormous. Atlanta, Georgia, another market that was hit extremely hard. Well, let's talk Cleveland. Average or median home price, $102,000. The average salary needed, just $29,788. Let's look at something that's closer to Fresno, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Average. Yeah, not in geography, topography, or average average temperature. I was talking in terms of sales price. $188,000 is the average sales price in Minneapolis. Interesting how I got that kind of rise out of you guys this morning. Average sales price $188,000 and average salary needed, $45,732. So Sacramento, obviously a popular place here in the state, average sales price, and I found this interesting, $255,800. That's a pretty high, comparatively speaking to here in the Central Valley, here in Fresno. Salary needed, $58,113. Los Angeles County, average sales price. Any guess, average sales price?
$380,000.
Oh, real close, Sal. $406,000. You only need to make $85,000 a year. That's all. Let's talk. Okay, let's.
You never get to vacation again.
Well, yeah, you'd never. Well, hopefully, yeah, exactly.
Hopefully, your home is your vacation.
Yeah,
home.
there you go.
Yeah.
It's going to be a beautiful place. New York City, average sales price. I found this really interesting. It's less than Los Angeles.
Wow, that's surprising.
$388,900. Right where you were at, Sal.
Was Buffalo listed?
No, Buffalo is not listed. Let's talk San Francisco. Average sales price. You better double it.
Yeah.
$679,000, almost $700,000. And you only need to make $137,000.
And just to think, 2 years ago it was a lot less than that?
Yeah, 2 years ago it was about $185,000 less. Very, very. It helps to give you perspective, and it helps to give you perspective as well for some of our listeners. We're talking about HUD homes today. We're talking about it could be first-time home buyers, or could be someone that's looking to move up and utilize FHA financing. They're wanting to put as little monies down, and Tim's going to talk about FHA financing a little bit, and really just how easy it is to qualify for FHA financing. But it helps to give you perspective if someone out there is making $38,000 a year and really has no debt and has fought for long that they couldn't qualify to purchase a home.
Yeah, and then if you talk about a joint applicant, husband and wife, their income can be,
how
38 divided by 2.
Exactly.
So, 19.
Absolutely.
Well, how about that math?
Good dividing, Tim.
I'm sorry, I was taking my shoes off to start counting. California median home prices reached the highest level since December of 2011. Guys, I'm sorry, but I don't remember a whole lot of anything good happening in 2007. It was very, very difficult here.
I had a lot of free time.
You did. Yeah. If you were in the mortgage industry, you had a lot of free time, and if you were trying to sell real estate, it was a matter of trying to gauge the bottom and where you were at in relationship to, because you knew that housing prices were doing what? All they were doing, salaries
going down.
were going down. You know, it's interesting because, and I've said this before, I used to spend a lot of time obviously looking for business, but then going home and listening to Donnie Deutsch and Kramer at home. When I get home and Donnie Deutsch talking about, these folks, how you reinvent yourself for all those folks that had lost their jobs. And then they'd talk about how much the market had lost that day and how much housing prices had gone down in the last quarter. It was not...
Quarter hour?
Yeah, quarter. Yeah. They did get to that point. Yeah. That's for sure. Well, again, California median home prices reached the highest level since December of 2007. Wow. That's just scary. Showing true signs of improvement, California's housing market continued to perform better than expected in April, with both the median home price and home sales increasing month to month. So year over year, we weren't at the same pace, but we still had increased month to month, March over April. So we're still right in the ballpark. Let's see here. Let's look Fresno County here. Average sales price was $192,880. So still reasonable, still affordable as far as California is concerned. Again, if you're just joining us, you're listening to the Real Estate Radio Fresno. I'm your host, Craig Barton. And again, we have Johnny B behind the mics, Tim O'Hare, our mortgage money guy from Valley Wide Homes, Sal Hernandez. All of a sudden, everybody looks really quiet and very uncomfortable. Sal Hernandez, our local listing broker from Valley Wide Homes. Lisa Casso, our client mommy. If you're thinking of selling your home but really not sure where to look first, just what? Go to Valley Wide Sells. The first thing that you need to determine is what your home's worth. You can go to Valley Wide Home Values. Again, that's valleywidehomevalues.com. Just tell us some basic information about your home. Sometimes it'll start a conversation. Other times it'll generate a report. Yeah, usually it starts a conversation. And the reason being is you need to tell us a little bit more about your home and what makes your home very different or interesting from other folks. But go to valleywidehomevalues.com and we will generate a free, no obligation report and hopefully tell you exactly what your home is worth. Keep in mind, though, if you are interested in selling your home, that all it takes is a willing seller and a willing buyer willing to purchase a home at any price. Just understand, though, that you have to make sure that that price is relative or comparable to other homes within your neighborhood. So you can't ask for $600,000 for your 1,532 square foot Centex home with gold-plated toilets just because you want to. Well, you can, but chances are the property's going to be on the market for quite some time. Right?
Maybe somebody wants those gold toilets. You said you just need to find a buyer, right?
That's when you see a lot of people go to for sale by owner. Because they don't believe you when you tell them it's worth this much, so they'll say, hey, I can sell it for this much, and they can't.
That's why you need somebody like you, huh?
Well, at least you need to talk with someone, and they'll try to talk some sense into you, and then if that doesn't work, then they'll try to sell it themselves.
Maybe they could sell the gold-plated toilets on Craigslist and then just put regular toilets in and sell it for less.
There you go. Maybe that's
I'm such a problem solver.
You are. Thank goodness we got you on the show. Again, if you have any real estate or mortgage-related questions or questions regarding the information that we share with you here on the show today, or let's say it's a question that's affecting something in your world. Let's say you'd like more information on how do I get my credit scores up? My credit scores have been in the tank for quite some time, and I'd like to get them up. Or I'm interested in selling my home. Do you have any creative solutions for eliminating debt? And no, that doesn't mean stop paying it. Or you'd like to refinance, and maybe you'd like to drop your private mortgage insurance. Give us a call anytime, 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. You can take us with you wherever you go and listen to us on your smartphone at KMJNow.com. You can also check out our resources online by going to valleywidesells.com. Well, coming up, Sal Hernandez here in the studio again with us this morning, our HUD Homes expert from Valley Wide Homes, here to tell you some secrets about just how easy it is to purchase a HUD home. Make sure you stay with us. You're listening to the Real Estate Radio Network, helping you to redefine real estate. Here on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ.
This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us.
Thinking about buying a home? Find out how the HUD Home Store can help you. Visit HUDHomestore.com. Look at HUD homes available for sale near you or nationwide. Why HUD Home Store? HUD will pay up to 3% of the buyer's closing cost. The price of the home is based on an FHA as-is appraisal, which is already completed, saving you an average of $400. And there is an owner-occupant priority bidding period during the first 30 days. Want to know more? Visit HUDHomestore.com.
Rick Ransom, a local guy, began his career in mortgage lending in 1989. In 91, he became one of the first reverse mortgage lenders in California. Since that time, he's helped hundreds of seniors with reverse mortgages and other senior-related issues. And he's one of the few in this business who is a CPA.
This is Rick Ransom. Much of what you hear on TV and radio is not altogether true. There is misinformation. A reverse mortgage can help you supplement your retirement, pay off your existing mortgage or credit cards, even purchase a new home. If you're ready for a free face-to-face meeting with someone with 45 years experience in the application process, call me at 221-5355. That's 221-5355. I look forward to meeting with you.
DRE number 513201, NMLS number 240770.
Have you ever thought about going solar? It's never been easier to go solar than with a SunPower lease. You'll start saving money the very first day. Arise Solar has a team of energy consultants ready to help you determine if going solar is right for you. Start taking control of your energy costs. Contact Arise Solar, your local SunPower Elite dealer, at 449-8989. That's Arise Solar at 449-8989. Or use press 4 keywords, Arise Solar.
When it comes to investing in wealth management, you can find good counsel from someone at a local office for a Wall Street firm. And if you do well, a main office in New York does well. However, we at Thies & Duker Financial Consulting Group offer a very different choice. Our associates offer Wall Street experience from an independent, local company. We answer to you, not New York. Thies & Duker's owners, associates, and staff members live right here. We're your neighbors.
I'm Tom Morgan, a financial consultant with Thies & Duker Financial Consulting Group. I recently joined Thies & Duker because I wanted to serve my clients in an independent firm that truly values clients, families, and this community. If that's what you're looking for too, give me a call at 448-8190.
Feel right at home at Thies & Duker. Visit us online at thiesandduker.com. THIESENDUEKER.com.
The consultants at Thies & Duker are registered representatives with and securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
All it takes is one call to the professionals at Valleywide Homes, and you'll start building wealth in real estate. Whether you're looking for your first home, moving up, or your next income-producing property, let Craig and his team at Valleywide help. There's never been a better time to get into the real estate market. Start the search for your next home by visiting our website at valleywidesells.com or call toll-free 800-979-3958. That's 800-979-3958, and put the seasoned professionals at Valleywide Homes to work for you.
You're listening to the Real Estate Radio Network with local expert Craig Barton. Now, here's Craig.
Well, folks, as we mentioned, we are really fortunate this morning. We've got Sal Hernandez, our local listing broker and HUD Homes expert, here in the studio with us this morning. And, you know, Sal, we spend a lot of time, or we do this regularly to ensure that our folks, our listeners, understand exactly what a HUD home is, why a HUD home ends up with Valleywide, and why we sell a HUD home. So let's start with just simply the definition of how does a HUD home end up being a HUD home?
Well, good morning. A HUD home, basically all it is a home that has been foreclosed on an FHA loan, and HUD insures the loan to the lender for all FHA loans. So once they insure it, once the bank recovers the insurance, then it goes back to HUD and it becomes a HUD home. That's why sometimes you'll see some of these homes, people don't understand, why is that house empty for a year? Why is it empty for 2 years? And why isn't the bank selling it? Well, a lot of the times it could be it has an FHA insured loan on it originally that was foreclosed, and the bank's doing everything they can to reclaim that insurance to HUD against FHA, and it'll become a HUD home.
And that's one of the great things about the program is that originally it was created back in the in the 30s to ensure greater liquidity in the mortgage markets, because banks at that time were very conservative and only would lend somewhere in the ballpark of, and I'm generalizing, but somewhere in the ballpark of about 50% loan to value. So they would lend 50%. The consumer, the buyer, would have to come in with the other 50%. So what we saw is the Federal Housing Administration said, listen, we're going to provide this underlying insurance to help give you, First Community Bank of Kansas City, confidence in the event that you can lend this money out. And as long as you underwrite to our guidelines, if the consumer stops making their payment, you file a claim with it. You take the property back. You file a claim with us, and we will make you whole. So when I say created greater liquidity, it created greater confidence amongst the banks and lenders to help encourage what? More lending.
More lending. I mean, it continues to this day. You look at, how many FHA loans are out there. And every day, there's an FHA loan that is closing. And those will go through the same process. Hopefully not as a foreclosure part.
Right.
But if for some reason the owner stops making the payments, the lender that loaned them the money can go back and file a claim against FHA, and it'll eventually become a HUD home, and it'll be listed to the public, first to owner occupants, of course, and then it'll be listed through the whole process to investors.
Now, a year ago, roughly 35% of all homes that were sold in Fresno County were financed utilizing FHA financing. Now the number has dropped slightly. Roughly 27% of all homes that are purchased in Fresno County are purchased utilizing FHA financing, which comes in third. So FHA financing went from first place, cash being second, conventional financing being third, to now flip-flopped, conventional financing being first, cash being second, and FHA financing being third. And Tim, you and I had a conversation about this just recently. What do you think is the major reason or reasons why conventional financing has leapfrogged to number one?
Good question. I think some of it might just have to do with time. People have now been able to qualify for that conventional loan, whereas a couple of years ago they wanted to go buy, they were hot in the market, and they couldn't just because of credit qualifications, perhaps, or their underwriting guidelines.
I totally agree.
Yeah,
they were forced to, because FHA financing requirements with regards to a bankruptcy or a foreclosure,
more leniency,
much more lenient. The time period is much shorter,
right?
Versus conventional financing,
right? And there was a period of time too where the conventional financing, only requires a 3% down payment.
Right.
Now you got to get the mortgage insurance company to back that, which, depending on the clientele that you're dealing with, may or may not be able to do that.
Sure.
So I think that's opened up a little bit of the market too for the conventional side versus FHA.
I also think that with FHA financing, for our listeners, FHA only makes loans to those folks that are planning on residing in the property as their primary residence. That was the Department of Housing and Urban Development's original intent, is to encourage owner occupants and helping to finance them as far as properties are concerned. Nowadays, or now, what we're seeing is because there's been Central Valley's been such a hotbed for investors, conventional financing makes loans to owner occupants as well as investors.
Sure.
So it makes sense that you would see more investors or more investor type loans happening here, and I think helping to make that swing. So I think that there's a couple variables here. You bring up a very good point that it's now those folks that weren't able to qualify are now able to go conventional.
Right.
And the mortgage insurance factors are just slightly, they're less.
On the conventional side.
On the conventional side. Rates might be just a little bit higher, but the mortgage insurance variable or factors are a little bit lower.
Sure.
and there's also investor loans in there. So when you factor both in...
Yeah, and if you think about a client maybe that maybe they sold at the right time. Maybe they were lucky enough to get out. Sold and held on to that cash from that property, and they've got the 20% down, so they don't have the MI for the commercial side now, and they were just waiting for the market to start taking off again. Or, it could be a number of different reasons, but I think that conventional financing is obviously good. Rates are still good.
Sure.
FHA, though, in my opinion, is for the first-time home buyer that's limited credit, that doesn't have much money in the bank. Obviously, there's some opportunity there for those types of borrowers.
And in terms of credit scores, so someone, let's say, finds a HUD home that they like, and hopefully they didn't put the cart before the horse. So that hopefully they went out and actually got pre-approved first. So you were able to take some of the guesswork out of the process. They understood exactly what their means were in terms of what they could qualify for, but also really what they wanted to afford, because those two numbers might be different.
Yeah.
They might want the house that costs them $1,400 a month, but they really only want that $1,100 a month payment. That really fits their budget. Their budget, absolutely.
Yeah.
So they've gotten pre-qualified. They find a HUD home. And then, Sal, where do folks go to find HUD homes?
You can give me a call.
Yeah. Excellent.
No, you can go online. It is HUDhomestore.com. Once again, that's HUDhomestore.com, and you can search all HUD homes in the United States. Once you get on that website, you can zero in on the state you're looking for, the county, and city, and it'll give you every HUD home that's available on there. It's a very helpful website. It shows you the property that's available, shows you the bid deadline, shows you if it'll qualify for FHA financing or not. And so it's very helpful, and it gives you the ability to make an informative decision. And next step after that is you call your real estate agent. If you can choose any real estate agent of your choice, preferably you give me a call, but you can call any real estate agent. They can help you out and walk you through the process of purchasing the HUD home from that point.
Super. So we don't load people on our cars anymore and just take them out and show them properties without being pre-approved.
Not at all. That's one of the first steps, regardless if it's a HUD home or just a traditional sale you're looking for. First step in the whole process is getting pre-approved. You need to know what you qualify for. And you were just talking about, somebody wants that $1,400 a month house, but they can only afford $1,100 a month. Well, you need to find that out up front, and that's why you need to get pre-approved. What can you actually afford, and what's doable for you as a buyer? Once you find that out, your realtor you're working with will help you determine what houses are going to qualify for that payment. And that's the way you get started. If not, I get calls from people all the time. Well, we want to look at this house. Are you pre-approved? No. Well, how do you know? That you're going to be pre-qualified? Oh, we know we have great credit. Do you know what your monthly payment on this house is going to be? No. They say no, and it's like, well, how do you know? We need to get you pre-qualified first. And also, one of the important reasons also to get pre-qualified beforehand is you might go and look at the house, especially with some of these HUD homes and other homes as well. They have bid deadlines, or let's say the seller is going to make a decision that evening on selling that house. You fall in love with the house, and next thing you know, we're not pre-qualified. Let's go to the bank and get pre-qualified. It takes 2-3 days. By the time you get back, house is already sold. So you're going to be crushed. You found the home of your dreams, and it's sold just because you didn't take the time to do everything up front. So really important, get pre-qualified before anything.
Helps to set baseline expectations in terms of the process, your payment, the documentation that's going to be required along the way between now and the time you find the home, get into contract, and close. The amount of cash that you need as far as closing is concerned, and where is that cash going to come from? Is it going to come from your savings account? Is it going to come from, let's say, the CHDAP, the California Housing and Down Payment Assistance Program? Is it going to be an Access? That's another down payment assistant type program. Where is it coming from? Or is it going to be a gift because you've got an employer or a mom or, father, church group that wants to gift you the monies because they want to see you do well and buy your first home?
Yeah, hopefully it's not under a mattress.
I actually get that a lot. People say, well, we have the cash. And with today's loans, everything has to be documented, sourced. If you have $1,000, where did it come from? The lender wants to know, and they have to source that money. So everybody's perception sometimes is, well, I have great credit. I can get pre-qualified today. And it's not that easy. They have to proof everything.
But just interrupting, it's not that hard either.
No, it's not that hard at all.
Really what it is you need someone to help guide you.
Exactly, and it's something that's very easy to overcome. If in fact, let's say you have saved money at home, it is very common. We see that so often here in California. It's a matter of the semantics of...
I recently had a mattress money guy, and we were able to get the deal done. It wasn't impossible, but we had to write some good letters to the underwriter and explain what the situation was. But I'm not promoting that. Believe me.
No,
but
he's absolutely not.
But I am saying, whatever your situation is, go talk to a good loan officer to figure out what steps needs to take to get you into that pre-approval process.
Yeah, and I mean, from a listener standpoint, I always get, when I get the buyers out there that say, hey, we don't want to get pre-approved. We know we qualify. They're scared to get pre-approved because they think they're going to be locked into something. Getting pre-approved for a loan doesn't lock you into anything. Yeah, it helps you gauge where you're at. It gives you an idea, and it gives you the ability to say, look, it's kind of like saying, I have cash in hand. I'm ready to buy. Right. And that pre-approval is good for any house. Doesn't mean, oh, hey, you have to buy this house now because I got approved for $1 million. I have to go out and buy $1 million home. You don't have to.
Right.
Anything you want to add to that, Tim? Or?
Well, and also, it's interesting that a lot of times people actually get approved for more than what they think. And part of that has to do with the fact that now you get an interest write-off if you buy a home. Whereas before on their income taxes, you might be claiming zero dependence. You can change your dependency on your taxes. Consult a tax accountant, please. But you can be looking at a situation where you can afford a little bit more than what you think, because we do base it off of gross income, not net income. So borrowers might be able to qualify for more home than they actually were considering in the first place.
It's amazing how really the underlying theme is just educating the borrower to the extent that they feel comfortable. They feel, knowledge is power. So
Absolutely.
Just educating the consumer as to exactly how this is supposed to go down. Now, Sal, real quick question. So who can buy a HUD home? Is it restricted as far as, we talked about FHA financing, and the reason why it's a foreclosure is the owner-occupant lost the home. But now on this end of the transaction, HUD is marketing the property. You're helping market the property for them. Who can buy a HUD home?
Anybody can buy a HUD home. The way it does work is originally when a property comes available on the market, it's a two-phase process. If it qualifies for FHA financing, it is available to owner-occupants only for the first 15 days. If an owner-occupant doesn't take that advantage of jumping on that house and submitting an offer, on the 16th day, it is opened up to investors. Then from that point, anybody can make a bid on a house. If a property first becomes on the market and it does not qualify for FHA financing, it is put on the market for 5 days. First 5 days are only available to owner occupants again. And again, what that means is that property won't qualify for FHA financing. It will have to go through a conventional private money or even cash, depending on the property. But owner-occupants always get the priority over investors. And that's something to take note of. And if you're in the market for a home, really work with your realtor, work with the realtor, getting that advantage out there. I get a lot of buyers that they're shopping on Zillow, they're shopping on Trulia, they're trying to do all the work themselves, and I get that call after an investor has purchased the home. Hey, I'm calling about this house. They're all excited. We understand HUD does for owner-occupant. And I'm like, you're a bit too late. That house has already been sold to an investor. And so it's really important to work with somebody that's going to let you know about these properties fairly quick. And so, again, anybody can buy a HUD home as long as they fall within the date parameters, whether it be owner-occupant or investor.
Now,
I just wanted to add a quick note. I think sometimes some fear factors for some of these customers that are new to the marketplace is that maybe they feel like they have to write you a check up front. You want to explain how that works?
Yeah, ultimately, by working with a realtor, you don't pay, as a buyer, you don't pay up front for anything. The way it works is all of the realtors' commissions are preset for the most part by the selling party. And when you're represented by a realtor, you get that representation, and that realtor works super hard to get you into that house or into a house that's going to work for you, but they don't make any money until that house is sold. And the money they do get paid for that is already preset by the seller and is paid by the seller. So as a buyer, you're pretty much getting, for the most part, a free service that you should take advantage of, and call a realtor, work with them, and help them, use them to help you get into a house, which is much easier than looking on Zillow, Trulia, Homes.com, everything out there, because there's all these websites out there, and by the time you find on the website the house is gone, the price is wrong, one thing or another. It's a rental. It's not a for sale.
Yes, we're chuckling because it's interesting because Lisa is our Craigslist expert, and she has been on Craigslist.
That sounds a little creepy.
Okay, it sounded creepy to you, but it's not creepy. When she posts listings to Craigslist, she'll find, like as an example, one of our properties on Craigslist listed to rent. So it is a common scam.
Talk to the owner.
Yeah, talk to the exactly. I talked to the owner, and he's not in.
These
the
websites
right at the moment.
I do property management too, and some of the rentals that I have, sometimes I actually have them for rent at a certain price, and I'll get a call. Hey, I want to rent this house. You have it available? And I'm just calling to make sure it's true. It's for $500, and I'm renting it for $1,050. And I'm like, no, that's somebody trying to do a scam online. And there's all these websites out there. Sometimes they create a little bit of a headache in our industry because there's so much information anybody can post to them. If you contact a realtor, again, it doesn't cost you anything as a buyer. Contact a realtor. They'll work for you. Stick with one realtor. Don't jump around. And, they'll be able to effectively help you get into the house, take care of your needs, and make sure nobody takes advantage of you overall.
Awesome. Always looking out for the consumer's best interest. Real important. Absolutely. Again, if you have any real estate or mortgage related questions or a question about the information that we're sharing with you here on today's show, we'd love to hear from you. It starts with one call. Give us a call anytime. 800-979-3958. Again, that's 800-979-3958. Take us with you wherever you go and listen to us on your smartphone at KMJNow.com. You can also go to our website and search for your next home at ValleyWideSells.com. Well, after the break, we're going to continue our conversation with Sal Hernandez, local listing broker with Valleywide Homes, and Tim O'Hare, our mortgage expert. Woohoo! Make sure you stay with us. You're listening to the Real Estate Radio Network, helping you to redefine real estate here on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ.
This program is brought to you by the Real Estate Radio Network. Visit realestateradio.us for more info. That's realestateradio.us.
Thinking about buying a home? Find out how the HUD Home Store can help you. Visit HUDHomestore.com. Look at HUD homes available for sale near you or nationwide. Why HUD Home Store? HUD will pay up to 3% of the buyer's closing cost. The price of the home is based on an FHA as-is appraisal, which is already completed, saving you an average of $400. And there is an owner-occupant priority bidding period during the first 30 days. Want to know more? Visit HUDHomestore.com.
Rick Ransom, a local guy, began his career in mortgage lending in 1989. In 91, he became one of the first reverse mortgage lenders in California. Since that time, he's helped hundreds of seniors with reverse mortgages and other senior-related issues. And he's one of the few in this business who is a CPA.
This is Rick Ransom. Much of what you hear on TV and radio is not altogether true. There is misinformation. A reverse mortgage can help you supplement your retirement, pay off your existing mortgage or credit cards, even purchase a new home. If you're ready for a free face-to-face meeting with someone with 45 years experience in the application process, call me at 221-5355. That's 221-5355. I look forward to meeting with you.
DRE number 513201, NMLS number 240770.
Have you ever thought about going solar? It's never been easier to go solar than with a SunPower lease. You'll start saving money the very first day. Arise Solar has a team of energy consultants ready to help you determine if going solar is right for you. Start taking control of your energy costs. Contact Arise Solar, your local SunPower Elite dealer, at 449-8989. That's Arise Solar at 449-8989. Or use press 4 keywords, Arise Solar.
When it comes to investing in wealth management, you can find good counsel from someone at a local office for a Wall Street firm. And if you do well, a main office in New York does well. However, we at Thies & Duker Financial Consulting Group offer a very different choice. Our associates offer Wall Street experience from an independent, local company. We answer to you, not New York. Thies & Duker's owners, associates, and staff members live right here. We're your neighbors.
I'm Tom Morgan, a financial consultant with Thies & Duker Financial Consulting Group. I recently joined Thies & Duker because I wanted to serve my clients in an independent firm that truly values clients, families, and this community. If that's what you're looking for too, give me a call at 448-8190.
Feel right at home at Thies & Duker. Visit us online at thiesandduker.com. THIESENDUEKER.com.
The consultants at Thies & Duker are registered representatives with and securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
All it takes is one call to the professionals at Valleywide Homes, and you'll start building wealth in real estate. Whether you're looking for your first home, moving up, or your next income-producing property, let Craig and his team at Valleywide help. There's never been a better time to get into the real estate market. Start the search for your next home by visiting our website at valleywidesells.com or call toll-free 800-979-3958. That's 800-979-3958, and put the seasoned professionals at Valleywide Homes to work for you.
You're listening to the Real Estate Radio Network with local expert Craig Barton. Now, here's Craig.
Well, as we mentioned before the break, we have Sal Hernandez, our HUD Homes expert, here in the studio with us this morning. So, Sal, financing a HUD home, is there one type of financing that's better than others with regards to a HUD home?
FHA.
Wow, that was right and short and sweet to the...
It's really easy. All of these HUD homes, again, they create the benefit for owner-occupants. They have an appraisal, for the most part, already completed on these homes. The appraisal is something that the price on the appraisal is not disclosed to buyers, but it is and has an appraisal, and it's an FHA appraisal. So in essence, if there's anything that was called on that property, there will be an escrow account. When it's marketed by HUD, there is an escrow account. It states this property can go FHA, provided that this escrow amount is financed into your loan. Now you have conventional 5%, and I heard the other day there's like a 3% conventional as well. Well, a lot of the time, those conventional loans, they're going to require things to be completed. For the most part, most of them are going to ask for some of those escrow holdback items to be completed, and on a HUD home, absolutely no repairs can be completed prior to close of escrow.
So can't touch the home prior to the close of escrow. You can go in and look at it, but you can't touch it.
You can't fix anything on it.
No comment from the peanut gallery over here.
It doesn't matter if it's a $5 repair that's going to hold up your conventional loan. You cannot do it. And so HUD sometimes, they do find out about this. There's a chance that they'll cancel the deal. I just got one accepted in Sanger, and we went and wanted to do another appraisal on the property. Well, once we get there, apparently all the repairs on that escrow account have been magically fixed. So that means that the previous buyer probably did those repairs illegally.
Wow.
And turns out that I believe on this one, HUD canceled their deal because of that.
Just the reason why. Yeah.
And so, that was a benefit to my buyer because they were able to get the house. But from a buyer standpoint, regardless of, not saying your loan officer would tell you to do it, but regardless of who tells you to do anything, you cannot do even a 25-cent repair on a HUD home. That's why the best type of financing is FHA.
So now let's also talk about a common buzzword or buzz term is seller concessions. That's where the seller would potentially pay monies towards the buyer's closing costs and prepaids. And let's make sure that we don't get the two mixed up. So we've got seller concessions, monies that the seller would potentially credit, versus repairs and the repair escrow. Two totally separate things. Who's responsible for the repair escrow?
The buyer is responsible for the repair escrow.
And it's not something that I know this, I'm asking the question because I know it's a common question. The seller is not crediting monies for the repair escrow. In other words, HUD is not putting those monies into escrow or setting them aside. Whatever repairs are required for FHA financing are 100% the buyer's responsibility.
Yes, they're ultimately the buyer's responsibility. The way that works is, again, on HUD homes, an appraisal is completed prior to it being listed. It is an FHA appraisal, and that appraiser determines what repairs are needed in order for that property to qualify for FHA financing. They'll dictate a dollar amount. That dollar amount is for the buyer to have that opportunity to be able to buy that home using FHA financing. They finance those repairs into their loan. So it's not something that the seller is going to credit it back to them. And that's a really good point because I do get that question a lot. Well, when do I get my credit? And it's not a credit. It's pretty much you finance it into your loan. You can also have the option of, say you have the cash and don't want to finance $3,000 over 30 years and you want to pay for that out of pocket. Get with your lender and they can set up an account for you to be able to set up that escrow account from your own funds so that you don't have to finance it. But it's not a credit. The buyer closing cost, that is a credit. HUD will pay up to 3% buyer closing cost on all deals, but that number does affect the bottom line. In essence, the way a HUD property is one, it's the highest net purchase price. And so if you submit an offer for $100,000 and you ask for $3,000 in closing costs, that's going to reduce your net to $97,000. Somebody else comes in and says, hey, we'll do $100,000 no closing costs, they're going to beat you by $3,000. And so that buyer closing cost, they will pay up to 3%, and that 3% can only be used for certain items. Again, check with the realtor, work with the knowledgeable realtor. They'll be able to tell you exactly what closing costs can be used. And if you want, you can. If you need it, ask for it. If you don't need it, don't ask for it because you can get beat by $1 on some of these deals.
To be clear, this is not something that's out of the ordinary, asking for a seller concession, nor is it out of the ordinary that a seller would look at the net, whether it's a mom and pop, a husband and a wife, an estate. They're all going to scrutinize it the same way. If they're able to net more on their bottom line because one offer asks for no seller concession and another offer asks for a much larger, or let's say a $2,000 seller concession, that's $2,000 more or less on the seller's bottom line. So it really is no different. It's just important that you understand that if you ask for it, as Sal was mentioning, you could lose the property for $1.
Yes, and this is a seller is selling the home, and it makes no difference as if somebody was selling a car. If you're selling your car for $1,000 and you know somebody comes to you and says, hey, I'll give you $1,000 for your car right now, and somebody else comes up to you and says, hey, I'll give you $1,000, but I need you to pay all the transfer fees on it that are going to be $200, who are you going to sell the car to? It's going to be who gave you the most money. It doesn't matter what the difference, if it's $200, $500, you're going to sell it to whoever gives you the most money. Same thing with HUD or with any other seller in this market. They're going to look at the bottom line, who is offering me the most money, and with HUD, they don't care what type of financing you're using. With other sellers, they do care, is it cash, is it finance? With HUD, you don't have to worry about that. It's just basically the bottom line. And if you're using financing, you have the same opportunity as a cash buyer.
So if you submit an offer, as an example, all offers are submitted online, electronically. They're all sealed bid. So if you submit an offer today and the bidding deadline is tonight, you should have a buyer and their agent could have an offer, an answer as soon as when?
The next business day. So if you submit an offer today, the bid deadline's tonight, Sunday, as long as tomorrow is not a holiday, you will get a response by noon, 1 o'clock at the latest, the following business day. And what I mean by a response, you either get a yes, and that's pretty much it. If you get no response, you didn't win it. HUD, the way it works, they only respond to the winner of the bid. And
only winners get love. Is that correct, Sal?
That's pretty much it. And so if your bid was the highest bid and it was within the acceptable price range of HUD, you'll find out the next business day.
So obviously working with someone that has experience as far as HUD homes are concerned is extremely, extremely important. If someone, let's say, and obviously you sell more than just HUD homes.
Yes.
I think let's make that clear as well. But it's important with all the different Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, HUD, VA, USDA, all the different types of foreclosures and investors that are out there. It is important to have someone that on your side that has a tremendous amount of experience over the last 7 years or so.
Yeah, you do need to get with a realtor that knows what they're doing. A lot of the times you'll get with realtors that they might be new to the game and they're going to be guessing at some things. And so, it is really important to qualify the realtor you're working with, make sure they understand your loan type, make sure they understand your loan situation, how much funds you have. So again, it's really important that as a buyer, you're also open with your realtor. If you don't have any money to put a down payment, let your realtor know that. And same thing as your loan officer. If you have money for closing costs, let them know that. And I have a buyer right now that was trying to buy a house, and they're like, well, we don't need closing costs. And I have money tucked aside. And the thing is, it was mattress money. And so, again, you need to be upfront with your realtor, and they'll be able to help you.
So if you'd like a list of HUD homes throughout the state of California, for this free list, just go to our website, GovHomesCA. That's GovHomesCA.com. So govhomes.com. And you can sign up. All you have to do is input your name, your email address, and we will email and select whatever list you want, and we'll send you a free list of HUD homes for sale anywhere in the state of California. Again, thank you, Sal Hernandez, local listing broker from Valley White Homes. Tim O'Hare, the money guy. Money man. Lisa Casso, client mommy from Valley White Homes. And Johnny B. behind the mics. Johnny, you always do such a great job, buddy. Thanks for bringing us back home this morning. Our goal at the Real Estate Radio Network is to get you, our listeners, the timely and accurate truth about your local real estate market. We are going to tell you what the big banks and Wall Street don't want you to hear, so we can help bring you back home. Don't forget to tune into the Real Estate Radio Network next Sunday morning at 9 a.m. on News Talk 580 and 105.9 KMJ. Local news, local talk. Make it a great day, Central California, and we will see you next week.
The preceding is paid for by the Real Estate Radio Network.